Hello, I would like to introduce Amberly Farber. She is a warrior friend of all of ours. She joined our group about a month ago, and she approached me today and wanted to share her very unique story with us. So, whoever is online on the group, please listen to understand where she's come from and her purpose and her messages. So let's welcome Amberly. Hi, Amberly.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going to read off basically the summary of what you sent me today, and then I'm going to ask you to kind of just briefly tell us in a nutshell how you saw it. Okay, so Amber considers herself an intelligent individual. She received a BA in psychology and social work in 1988. However, during this time, she became under the influence of mind control because of a very charismatic leader who took advantage of the weaknesses of several individuals. And what was once something beautiful in her mind turned deadly for some. In 2008 or so, she became involved in a cult. And about 6 years ago, she ran away from it, scared to death. It was then that she developed a mental illness caused by fear, an eating disorder, and then went through therapy and quit. I went to the doctors with depression, which all they did was give me drugs that made me suicidal. My anorexia turned to eating obsessively, and I was almost at 200 pounds. Very depressed and wanted to die all the time. I had a plan and everything. Then one weekend, I had a wake-up call. And since then, I've decided to dedicate my life to helping others overcome post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, weight loss, in a nutshell. It's funny you said nutshell, I said nutshell. I've lost 38 pounds by following the advice of a holistic doctor as well. I use mindful meditation and I've become much more conscious of my thoughts. Wow. Amber, this is powerful. Like, your story is very unique. And for you to step up and be brave and share it with us, I just want to say you are a brave warrior, and I'm very happy to have you as a warrior friend. So
Thank you.
you tell us, after me reading that, what goes through your mind after, like, tell the group how you feel.
Well, now I feel wonderful because I've completely turned my life around, because for the longest time I was in such a deep pit of depression that I didn't think I was ever going to get out of it. And so, yeah, I had a moment, a weekend that I talked about in that letter that I sent you, that I was in such a low place that I had plans of how I was going to kill myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was I spent the whole weekend journaling my thoughts and my feelings. And what I discovered by doing that was I could see patterns of the way I was thinking that weren't right. And so after that weekend, well, let me also say that I also quit smoking that weekend because I was smoking incessantly along with eating.
Yes, of course.
And yes, and I spent a bunch of money to go up north to stay the weekend in a cabin, and ended up being so depressed I left that night or the next day to come back and finish writing in my journal, and then I just made the decision that was enough. It was enough, no matter what it took, that, I was going to get through this. And so I was also having a lot of pain in my body from being overweight and eating bad food, and I had a lot of inflammation in my body. And it was at that time that I discovered this holistic doctor on YouTube talking about how some of the times the foods that you eat can cause inflammation in your body.
Yes, inflammation is a big one.
Mm-hmm. So I wasn't even really looking for weight loss, but when I started eating this lifestyle, I don't know if you want me to talk about that or the doctor who I...
Well, there's a couple questions I want to ask you. When you were putting a plan together for suicide, right? For ending your life, did you reach out to any loved ones? Did you seek any kind of support or help?
No, because at that time I really felt like my family was against me, and so they were the last people that I wanted to reach out to.
Right. Okay. So you basically put a plan together. You didn't reach out, no support groups, nothing like that. You didn't join it. So you were alone.
I was completely alone. Yes.
In the dark at a very low place, rock bottom.
Yep.
Okay. So you woke up yourself. Somehow there must have been a dim light inside your heart that went, okay. And that's when you started to journal.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you, when you say that your family has never been there for you, did that happen in childhood, or was it like, where did you feel like the pain started, like the trauma? Like, did you feel like there was something, you were unloved, unworthy, or anything like that?
Well, it wasn't that I didn't have any support my whole life from my family. I mean, I grew up with a lot of alcohol abuse in my family.
Yeah.
And so there was that, and verbal abuse, but no, that whole non-support with my family began because of just some difficulties we've been having with taking care of my folks. So at that, I've been taking care of both my mom and dad for 2 years now, and so we've had some difficulties with my family with all of that. So, added to the stress I already had, it was just like I couldn't take it anymore.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the fact that, I mean, you were able to get out of that situation safely, and then, develop that whole fear around leaving your house and eating food. You want to talk a little bit about that, like how that aspect of fear of someone finding you from the cult, and the food that that you were scared to eat because it was toxic or poison, or
Yeah, well, the cult that I was involved in, we were off the grid. We grew our own food, and a lot of the things we talked about were conspiracy theories. And one of the things we talked about was the poisons in the food, which I still do believe a lot of that to this day, but I'm not like a food Nazi about it.
Right.
Like we were back then.
Yeah.
And so, but when I got out, what happened was, I was afraid to go outside and just be around people, because first of all, we were like out in the middle of nowhere and we never really got to see many people. And then yes, the fear of them finding me was a lot of it. Yeah. But then because I hadn't eaten anything like from the store, for the longest time, I would just go in the backyard and eat like dandelion greens because I thought that was the only thing I could eat.
Yeah.
I ended up becoming anorexic. Well, then after a while, I don't know, I guess one of my friends just convinced me that you need to eat something. And so I started eating, and I was like, oh, I really enjoy pizza again. And, you know, pretty soon pizza led to this and that. And then I just started eating my emotions.
Yeah.
I ate all the time.
It went from one extreme to the other, right?
Yes, it
Well,
did.
it goes to show you that your mind can shift, right? You
Mm-hmm.
could, whatever we program into our mind is it will create our reality. We will create our reality with whatever we put in our mind. And that's why, you know, like with the cult, you believed in that. You believed that you were, you know, loved and in this amazing world, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until you started to really see in front of you what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Same with anorexia, right? You get that obsessive self-doubt that food is poison and you can't eat it, and then you make yourself sick. But your mind over it sabotages because you can't stop thinking about the poison that you're going to eat. You know what I mean? It's like that obsessive compulsive thought processing disorder, like OCD, or right? It's those crazy invasive thoughts that your mind just, you know, those negative thoughts, the negative energy that feeds and feeds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really powerful for us to be mindful of what we do put into our thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to switch over now. We kind of got an idea of where you've come from. So right now today, you were mentioning to me earlier that you are wanting to put a story together, a book. Do you want to share about that?
Yeah, I think it's really important that people know my story, because I'm sure there's other people out there that maybe have been in a cult that don't even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
People that have had eating disorders, or being afraid of people, or even just people that are, you know, have been depressed to the point where they just didn't know how to come out of it.
Yeah.
And for me, that eye-opening weekend, I literally sat down with a notebook and a pen and cried and cried and cried and got all my feelings out. And I think that is key, is just to get those feelings out. I think journaling is an amazing tool. And at that time, I really didn't feel like I had anybody that I could really talk to. So I was talking to myself, basically.
Yeah.
And until I couldn't talk anymore, you know, I just cried until I couldn't talk anymore. But the powerful thing in that was that I'd gotten all those feelings out, and then I was able to see some light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I started, after getting all the negative things out of my brain, I started writing down things like, you know, this is crazy. I can do this. I can turn my life around.
Yes.
There's
yes.
more to life than this, and I deserve better than this.
Yes. Yes. Good for you. So you did the work yourself, and something, you know, you've got your spirit guides and everything, and you know, like, things happen, right? And you've taken a situation that's very, very painful, and you've turned it around, and you're overcoming the pain and coming from a place of your heart now, because you want to make a difference for others.
That's
And
right.
that's what it's about. Like, that is our purpose, is to figure out that we deserve the world. We love ourselves, take care of our bodies like they're our temples, and then spread our love to the universe. It's that simple. That's what we're here for. We're born to be alive. We're born to learn lessons in life, overcome obstacles like pain and suffering and letting go, and rising and shining together, so that we can help others do the same, right?
Yeah.
And you know, one thing, like you've touched on probably 3 mental illnesses: depression, agoraphobia, and eating disorder. So, and probably a little bit of obsessive compulsive, because those thoughts, you couldn't get them out of your head, right? So,
Yes.
so your mental illness was severe, right? But you know that there's something bigger. You know that there was something always, there was a light in you, and you found it. And the main thing is you're giving hope now to others by sharing your beautiful, unique story of pain and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're going to write that book. You're going to be that powerful person because you're true to who you are and who you're meant to be.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
It's true. And this is why I love this group so much, because we're all in it together. We're all going to rise up together. And
Right.
however I can help you, I will help you lift up. You know, like this video, you're going to create a Facebook group and you're going to tell your story and you're going to do exactly that. And it's going to be powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And
Actually, I do have a Facebook group right now, and I started blogging. You know, I started blogging my story, and then I started a Facebook group. So I do have a blog, and I have a Facebook group called Sensational Living with Amber, and I just focus on, you know, making people feel that their life is worth something, that there's greatness in them, and that's my whole goal. You know, I want people to know that you have greatness in you. No matter what you're going through, you have greatness in you.
yes, and a beautiful light, like you're glowing. And the thing is, you know, like one of my favorite sayings is, life is a miracle. So are we.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are a miracle. We're born to be alive. Everything that's living has a purpose.
Right.
We've got to prevent overdoses. We've got to prevent substance abuse. We've got to prevent suicides and premature deaths, because people aren't taking care of their bodies. People aren't loving themselves because the pain and the suffering, they've never had the tools to cope with it. So the easy way out is to give up, give in, and end your life, right? Or be numb so that you don't feel the pain. I've learned to embrace my pain. I've learned to embrace my anxiety. I've learned to embrace my panic attacks. And I feel like I can almost overcome, like I'm with it. So when I get a panic attack, it's still scary, it still drives me loopy, but
Right.
I can tell myself now, I can mind shift and say, it's just a panic attack. I'm going to be okay. I'm not dying. Because I don't know if you've ever had panic attacks, but they come out of nowhere and you feel like you're dying and disconnected from your body completely. So,
Yes.
right? Like it's
Yes.
scary. So these kinds of things, like with you and your eating, there's probably still thoughts you have. Oh my gosh, is this good for me? Like, should I be putting this in my mouth? Is it right? Is it toxic?
Yes. Sometimes I do. Yeah.
And it's those thoughts, they're always going to be there. Our pain and trauma are always going to be with us. But what we can do is be mindful of the trauma and the pain and the thoughts, and stay away from them. Don't keep touching the pain. Don't keep touching the past. Don't keep touching, like, let it be. Be with it. Be brief with it. Be gone, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like, purge it every time it comes up, because it will. I mean, it will, right? So, and there's always going to be obstacles in our life that we have to overcome, right?
Yes.
No one said life's easy.
No.
Not. So, yeah.
The other thing that really helped me a lot was I started watching motivational videos.
Yes.
And I came across, I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, but he talks.
Love
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've gotten so much from his videos on YouTube about, mindfulness and consciousness, and also Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer is another good one too that I started watching. But anyway, from Wayne Dyer, I started doing I am affirmations.
Yes.
And what I do before I even get out of bed in the morning, and also at night when I go to sleep, is I go through from A to Z. I just make up my own words. Like I'll say,
Awesome.
I am Amberly, and I am awesome, and I am abundantly blessed.
Yeah.
To letter B, I'm blessed, I'm beautiful, I'm brilliant. And letter C, I'm courageous and compassionate. And I just go through the whole alphabet.
Yeah.
I do that in the morning and at night, and it really makes a huge difference in your whole mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's, you know what? That's awesome you say that, because I've done that on the group. I don't know if you saw that when I shared, but I created affirmations.
I did see that.
Yeah. And then I put a piece of paper, like I typed all the affirmations out. And I'm using that to help people that are still kind of, low, like not doing that well, right? And I'll private message them and give them that tool and give them the affirmations and tell them that you got to work hard, you got to commit. Buddy, sorry, my dog's barking.
That's okay. Mine was too, so I gave him a bone.
Yeah, he likes to be the boss sometimes, but anyways. And then tell them to say it out loud and do it 10 times a day, just so that your subconscious and conscious are getting those thoughts that I am, right?
Yeah.
And I use them all the time, even before I get out of bed. Like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to dress up, right?
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
It does, because when you're dealing with depression or anxiety, it's so easy to just roll over and go back to bed, right?
Yes, and I totally think that there's power in words.
Yeah.
If you start saying things like, if you say something like, "Oh, I'm sick and tired," well, you're literally telling your subconscious to be sick and tired, and you can literally cause disease and illness in your body.
Yes.
So you need to speak the opposite. You need to say things like, I am perfectly healthy in every cell and organ of my body.
Yeah. Wow, you've done the work. You're there. You're right where I am, because that's what I say every day is I am healthy. Yeah. I am strong. I am a warrior. I don't say, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be dizzy? Am I this? Like, I don't even go there anymore. It's not in my vocabulary. Can't is gone out of my vocabulary, and but is gone out of my vocabulary. And I'm being mindful of all the negative thoughts.
Awesome.
I think you've got it. Like, it's so important to lift yourself up, to be aware of the words that you're using, right? In your mind, for sure.
Yes. And also being so conscious that you start noticing like patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Noticing like patterns, like, for example, like I am still working on this one, but I sometimes get really defensive and angry when my mother gets angry at me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's a pattern.
It is. It's probably a trigger, right?
It is a trigger, and I have to constantly, and that's why I do the affirmations too, because I have to have more compassion. Yeah. More love, more light. I am love, I am light, I am compassion. And I say that a lot because, once in a while, I still have that defensiveness. It's a pattern. It's a pattern I need to break.
Yeah.
You
A
know,
little bit of the ego coming out, right?
mm-hmm.
Because you're aware of it. And now that you're aware of it, you can be with it, be brief with it, be gone, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Own it and let it go.
Exactly. Be gone. Yeah. Be brief, be quick, be gone. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So as far as, so where do you see yourself? Like what are your, if you, okay, let me ask you this. If you were to leave this world tomorrow, what would be a message that you would want to give to someone who is struggling with their obstacles in life?
Mm. I would say that the biggest thing, always think greater than you feel. Always think greater than your environment. Always know that you are enough and that you deserve more than whatever is keeping you down. That there's greatness in you and that it's possible, because there's so many people who have overcome their challenges,
Yeah,
and if it's possible for me, it's possible for you.
that's right. If I can do it, you can do it, right?
Yep. And that's I want to leave a legacy behind. If I can just help one person, then I've done my job.
And you already have done that with this video. I can assure you of that. And that's the one thing I love about this group is we're helping each other. It's about helping each other, lifting each other up, and sharing our unique stories. And like, we all have a purpose. And I mean, we all have imperfections, or a story. We all have a story. We all deal with pain. And it's how we react to it. And I think one thing that we haven't discussed a little bit about is we're born beautiful, and then somehow along the way we're convinced there's something wrong with us, or we're not lovable, or we're unworthy, or we're stupid, or we're not good enough, right? And it's like you say, we all matter. We all are loved by our Creator. And it's time that we embrace our imperfections, our differences. And I'm really focusing on mental illness, because I believe, actually, I don't believe, I know that people that have mental illness, like schizophrenia, autism, they perceive the world differently. It doesn't mean that they're lower than us. They're equal to us, and we all have beautiful, powerful minds. Just look at Einstein, right? He's a example. He was truly, madly, deeply a brilliant genius, but struggled with social and emotional adaptability. He couldn't even tie his shoes. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that's so important that we get that message out, that the stigma, that there's so much ignorance and misunderstanding around mental illness. And if people with mental illness realized that it's okay to be where they're at, yeah, they think differently and accept them, instead of telling them there's something wrong with them, they're crazy, oh my God, like stay away, the fear, the shame, right? Think of the love that they would have, and then think of how creative their mind is, because I'm a little bit on the autism spectrum myself. I have a genetic disorder that causes it. My son has autism. I know that I'm unstoppable when I get a thought in my head, and we're the doers, we're the creators, we're the movers, we're the shakers, we're the dreamers, and we're the visionaries. We see it, right?
Yes.
So I want to empower all mental illness people in the world to step up with us and to finally, once and for all, destroy stigma.
Right.
Get rid of it. We're all equal. We're all here for the same purpose, and that is we're born to be alive and to love and be loved. That's it. What a simple concept, right?
Right. And to help each other and build each other up.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. No matter what, right? So, yeah. So, okay. So I don't know what time it is. Oh, it's 4:26.
Oh,
How long?
6:26 here.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think how long we've been on. Is it 26 minutes?
And a half hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah. It goes fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah. So, okay. So what else did I want to ask you? There was a couple other questions okay. So you've got your site, and I will, I'll put that in Facebook as well.
Okay.
I'll send you a copy of this video so that you can get on your way and share it with your site. And
Okay.
if I can ask you to share our group as well to all of your friends so that we help each other. And I'm here anytime if you have any questions, if you need help. There's your dog.
Yeah.
I know, we love our fur babies though, right? Yeah.
Well, he's not really mine. I'm just kind of taking care of him for a family member.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Company.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I think that goes. Is there anything that you would like to share before we sign out? Before we end?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Okay. Well.